Hi, everybody. I wanted to do this today because we're at a very strange time in the United States and in the world, because people are saying, oh, that person is black, oh, that person is Chinese, that person, I can tell she's Spanish because of her hair, and they go on and on and on. But nobody really knows about anybody. And that is why I wanted to do this today with my dear friend, Rosalinda Perron. Now, when you hear that name, what do you think? I'm going to tell you, you're wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rosalinda Perron.
How do you do?
And Rosalinda is a person who is going to tell you a story about why she has that name.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the story about why I have that name. I always had a Latin name. My name is Rosalinda Guerra, and for years I was trying to change it. Then I married a wonderful man, and his name was, he pronounced it Perron. And so I pronounced it Perron, but everyone who looked at the name pronounced it Perron. And it is Perron. And so everyone thought, oh, we could only typecast her.
I don't know what you hate about us people, but I might know what we hate about you people.
She's only Spanish, and that's all we can send her up for. And that's all they ever did.
However, she did do soap operas. What soap operas did you do?
Yes, I was on Ryan's Hope, and that was way before Perron, and that was under the name of Guerra, and I played a Puerto Rican. So even then, way back then, I was only sent up for Latinas. And for a long time it worked for me until many more Mexicans started coming to New York. And then everything shifted. Mexicans were not seen as someone like me, but more like someone indigenous, that Mexicans come in all flavors too, just like in the United States. Some of them are kind of small, petite, and, different shades of color. And I didn't match that.
Mm-hmm.
So they stopped calling me. And if they did call me, I hardly got seen. So I had this gap in time where I wasn't getting anything. So when I first got to New York, I was the Latina kind of girl. I was even the Ivory Girl for a long time.
The Ivory Girl?
I was Miss
Procter and Gamble?
Yes, I was the Ivory Girl. But not in the United States. Internationally. They sent it to Mexico, to Spain, and around the world. But not in America. But I was the Ivory Girl. I did Pampers. I did lots of commercials. And until, like I said, the population began to change in New York, and then I couldn't get anything. After Ramona Gonzalez, the Puerto Rican on Ryan's Hope, I had a long gap where it was difficult to get auditions.
It's so incredible because this is why I wanted to do this. I had a dear, dear friend who, during the time that you were doing all the things that you were doing, she was a black girl. She was very, very light. I guess she's like Kamala. And she did many commercials and everything else. And then suddenly, she was not black enough. Mm-hmm. Now, I know about this because when I came to the New York situation, I had black hair and I was considered ethnic. I think I told people this. But a very funny thing happened to me, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you before. I was sent up for to a Spanish commercial. And I thought, Spanish commercial, my God. So the girls were speaking Spanish and doing their number, and I decided to myself, I'm not going to say anything because they'll know that I'm not Spanish and I'll be hit on the head. And I went in and I did the little improvisation. I got the commercial. But at that time, what they wanted was what they wanted from you. They wanted to be having a Spanish person who was just a little bit less Spanish. Now, if you look at the news programs, I mean, it's like they're going to let you know big time what nationality a person is by the hair, by the name, whatever it is. And I think, and this is why I did this, I think this is a problem because when I met Rosalinda Perron, I never thought she was Spanish or anything. And then she was sent up for this hysterical film or television thing. Well, I mean, she's a great actress, a very funny actress. And I shot because we didn't have the wonderful person taking care of it, I shot it for her. And I thought, oh, she's going to get this. She's so fabulous. I mean, it has to do with people needing to have, is it like a title? So-and-so is Russian, so-and-so. And I said this to the casting director when we were talking about it. Why can't people just be people? It's a shame because look at you. I mean, I could cast you in a lot of things, but
Thank you.
what would the producers say? You were thinking of changing your name, weren't you?
Oh, I was always thinking of changing my name. I became Rosalind Greer for a long time. Didn't get any work then either.
Well, they were used to
And I straightened my hair because at that time I was really wearing it curly before that.
You straighten your hair?
I used to I did everything. I wanted to be Procter and Gamble. I wanted to work.
You sound exactly like me. I even got a blonde wig.
So did I. I had a short blonde wig and I actually looked kind of cute in it. And I did get a job once, a Spanish commercial in fact, with a little brown wig because I had realized that I wasn't looking Spanish enough. So,
isn't that something?
So I was really in the middle of this mush because I didn't know what to do. And so anyway, I didn't finish my story about Perron.
Oh my goodness, go on.
So here I married this man with the name, he called it Perron, he pronounced it Perron, and so everyone was calling me Perron. Now, the ironic part of this was that it's not even a Spanish name. Everyone would say, oh, are you related to Evita Perron? No, I'm not. And she doesn't even spell it the same way I do. And she's got an accent, a cute accent over the O. I only have 2 R's. She has 1 R. But no, everybody thought we were related. At some points I started thinking, maybe I should say I am. Maybe that'll get me more work.
What nationality was the Perron?
Perron is actually French.
See?
It's French. It's French. But people in America don't know that.
It really...
Oh, and my husband, it wasn't even his real name.
What was his real
He
name?
changed his name when he was young from Persky because he didn't want people to know he was a Russian Jew. So he changed his name for the same reason. And he wasn't even in theater. He was a scientist.
You know, and this is so important, everybody. We got to stop doing this. We got to stop giving people titles because, and we talk about this all the time when you see the news and I don't even want to talk about it. It's time for us to grow up. I think so. Why should any one of it? Now, interestingly enough, the last audition that I had, and since you pulled yourself out of it, you weren't asked to audition, but all the girls were auditioning for the same part. Now, that was kind of crazy. So what will happen is somebody's going to say, I wonder if that person will fit into our, anyway.
Our idea of what this role should be.
Yes, and it's time to stop being, the only problem is with people who are black is they have black skin, or they have light skin, or they have whatever skin, but you know that they're black. And I saw something on television the other day saying that they're still trying to get the same sorts of things that the white people are getting, and they're not being allowed to go to colleges like Harvard as they used to do because they're keeping out. Oh, it's just so awful.
Because they changed affirmative action? Yes, they're not accepting as many, although I read an article that said that Harvard has just as many blacks as it's always had, but not all the universities.
Well, I don't know, it must have been from before, but it doesn't make any difference. The whole point of the thing is, let's stop. Let's stop doing this. And let's make a nice situation for all of us and allow people to do different things, unless it hurts the material. If it hurts the material, it should not be done. Don't you agree?
I agree.
Because you were saying about the opera.
Well, yes, the opera. I went to see a rehearsal of an opera, and well, I have my own prejudice about certain kind of casting, and I didn't mention this to Catherine before, but Tosca was, as we say in Spanish, un poquito llenita, a little full. And I didn't have my binoculars, so I couldn't see if she really had a pretty face, but my friend said she wasn't particularly pretty. The whole aspect of the way she moved, I didn't see her as Tosca, and I began to have all kinds of ideas. She should be dressed in something different. So I was already directing the opera. I thought, why is she dressed this way? Why? She did have a magnificent voice.
That's the point.
Magnificent voice. Mm-hmm. But she didn't look the part. Maybe that's why they cast us like this.
We don't look the part. Listen,
we don't look the part. Maybe here I am doing in reverse the same thing I'm complaining about. Is that possible? Because here I'm watching, and I have my idea of the years of the times I've seen this role. Beautiful people, it's supposedly a young woman. It's a love, a passionate love. And when do we have those passions? We have them when we're really young, isn't it? In our early 20s, our late teens. So, but this woman, as I'm viewing her, I'm thinking, her posture's terrible. She's walking like she really needs to stand up straight. And I'm thinking, this woman is closer to 50. She's not. So it was pulling me out of the opera. It was just pulling me out of the story.
That's exactly what happened to me in the last opera that I saw. We will not name what it is, but I thought, this person has a beautiful voice. Somebody's got to teach her that she's in a terrible danger. Why is she walking around like she's walking through the park? Why did they dress her that way? There's no way a person can be a sexy diva and walk around in those high boots. And I mean, it was totally crazy. And you say, I do the same thing. If you've been brought up in the business, and you say there are certain things that you just say, you can't not have them there. Like if a person is supposed to be a sexy teenager, then if the person is 55 years old and she doesn't know how to walk and she's not anything sexy about her, what? You've missed half of the piece.
You're missing part of the passion of the piece. Exactly.
Absolutely, the passion of the piece.
Right.
And I said this to somebody who was talking to me about women and men of our age, and what's going on with them. And I said, we all have a passion to do something, a really important passion. So why, in this, not just for theater, but why should a person have to be this or that in order to do something that they're passionate about? Now that's my feeling anyway.
As we talk about this, I'm realizing, okay, so we don't have to select someone that always looks exactly the same for the role, but they do need to have certain qualities
Right.
that belong to the role.
Right.
That actor has to have those qualities or be able to bring them to the role. And a good actor can very often bring them. Sometimes they cast you because you already bring that to the audition as your own personality, or sometimes because you create it when you're there at the audition. And that you have to have.
Absolutely. And the problem is, in this day and age, I feel, in the old days, I feel like I'm 110.
Yes, really.
We used to go to the studio, and the casting director would see you, and they would eventually see, oh, this person is, they can do this, oh, they can do that. So eventually they give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
And if you're good as an actor, you can bring it to the situation. However, today, where you have the Zoom things, we don't even know what we're supposed to do. They describe the character, but
It's not enough.
no.
It's not enough. When I started auditioning in New York, you would audition for Broadway shows on the stage.
Absolutely.
And everyone was there, the producers, the director, the writer, other actors perhaps. There were a lot of people at the auditions, and it was great because they would give you direction. You know, you could go with it, or you could be terrified like I was sometimes and just walk off stage.
Well, if they say to you, listen, I love what you're doing, but could you make an adjustment?
Yes.
Yes, I can make an adjustment. And they say, oh, look.
And you were always very good at that, making adjustments. You still are. Not everyone has that quality.
Well, you can make an adjustment and you can do what they ask you to do, but if it's not the picture that is in their head, if it's not the picture. Now, I don't know, it was like Jack Gindy. Was he the third person I think we did a video of? And I asked him, how did it happen that he chose me to play his mother? And he said, well, you walked in the room and I knew it. His mother was similar to me in many ways. And I even did something that his mother did to him. It was so very cute. But that's a little different. That's somebody he knew in his background. But if you're writing a play, or if you have a play, well, anyway, we could go on and on and on.
Yes,
Rosalinda Perron is Rosalinda Perron, Garage, whatever she is. She's an American lady who goes to Paris all the time. She's very chic and divine. And she's a great actress. And
Thank you, Catherine.
it's true. I saw you. I thought I was hysterical what you did. Great comedian, yes. And the thing is, we have to give everybody a chance.
We do. I'd just like to say a little bit about the way the auditions run these days. I find it surprising that SAG has not done something to represent actors in making it easier for actors. This having to hire someone to tape you each time you have an audition and then submit it for you, it's costly. And poor actors, most actors, they can't afford that. They can't afford that, or they're never going to get any work by doing this. And of course, then they don't have the advantage of what Catherine said before, of having the casting director give you some direction, which many times I know that when I got roles, it was because the casting person was giving me some pointers and telling me how I might try it the next time. That helped me enormously. We don't have that anymore. But everyone's been saying it started during COVID, but I disagree. I remember being in California in 2008, in this little house that I had there, and I was trying to videotape myself because when I was in Santa Cruz, I didn't know anyone to help me. And that was long before COVID that we had started doing these self-tapings, and I don't remember how it started. It's something, I don't know what triggered it.
Well, I know what triggered it. The COVID thing did trigger it big time.
Well, the COVID triggered it big time, but it had already started. It
Isn't
had
that
already
interesting?
started before that. And we're off of COVID now for a long time, and I don't see why we don't go back to auditioning and going to casting offices
Because
and meeting people.
it would be wonderful because meeting people.
We need
That's
to meet people.
right.
We need to even meet other actors who are up for it. We need to chat. We need that camaraderie. We need
Yeah.
that community to be closer to us.
Yeah. I remember when we used to go up for commercials and there'd be the same ladies and we'd be having a great time. You know, we'd go and do our thing and some of them would get it and some of them wouldn't and things like that. And when we would go up for straight plays, and I remember doing them on a Broadway stage.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That was exciting,
That
right?
was exciting. It was so far from what we do now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame. But anyway, now you've gotten my point of view and Rosalinda's point of view. And I hope it'll make you think, because this is a very important time to be thinking about things like this. And I'm very happy that Rosalinda helped me make this very dramatic tape, because I think it's something we have to think about. Thank you, Rosalinda.
Oh, you're very welcome, Catherine.
Perfect.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, of course.